The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
We all know that between Sheriff Joe and the cold case posse headed by Mike Zullo, that they have done the most to bring about the Obama identity fraud issues to a conclusion. Sheriff Joe is the only law enforcement official and elected official in this entire country who, at the original request of our very own surprise Tea Party, has had the profound courage to take this on, investigate it, and declare it a critical issue and documents a forgery. For that, we know Sheriff Joe is a hero, and history hopefully will treat him that way. Coming now, we have another hero in this effort. We have a special recorded message from Army Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin, who is the person, in contrast to Sheriff Joe, who has done the most. Terry Lakin is the person who has sacrificed the most over this issue. Terry Lakin is the only American who has publicly asked for the truth of this matter and gone to prison because of it. Since some of you do not know his story, and some of you do, which by the way is told in his book called An Officer's Oath, let me summarize his story for you. Former Lieutenant Colonel Lakin was a highly decorated 18-year veteran of the military. In the Iraq War, he served as the flight surgeon for General George Casey, who was the appointee of President George Bush to run the entire war at the time. After his tour in Iraq, and before deploying for his next assignment in Afghanistan, Terry, just like many of us, was very concerned over the lingering questions over whether or not Barack Obama had actually constitutionally qualified to be his commander-in-chief and order him to go anywhere. Before publicly challenging Obama, Terry quietly and privately submitted questions through his upper military command and also via personal letter to Obama himself, but never received any answers from anybody, basically being told to be quiet and just follow orders. When Terry received direct orders from Obama to go to Afghanistan, he decided it was time to take a public stand by declaring his willingness to invite his own court-martial by refusing to deploy. During his court-martial, Lakin was denied his due process rights by the military judge, who disallowed Terry from submitting any evidence on his own behalf from witnesses who had wished to testify for him, including such well-renowned Fox News contributors and retired generals as Tom McInerney and Paul Vallely. Terry was sentenced to 6 months in prison and deliberately removed from his home to be made an example of on Christmas Eve to be shipped to Leavenworth. To make matters even worse, and as a warning to others who might try to copy and support Terry, and despite the fact that the Obama administration continues to pay the salary of the Fort Hood shooter, which is reportedly up to about $300,000 now since that shooting, Terry, in contrast, was immediately stripped of his salary and his pension benefits and discharged. Ladies and gentlemen, even though he cannot hear you right now, as we get set to play his video message, let's welcome and thank Terry anyway, just as if he was here.
This case will want an invited my own court-martial. Today he addresses the Surprise Arizona Tea Party.
Surprise Arizona Tea Party, thank you for allowing me here to minutes to speak to you, and thank you for everything that you've done. Sheriff Joe, congratulations on the recall election failure. That was on the news, but not only Sheriff, right now, person. Thank you and Mike Zullo for pushing into this matter about our president's eligibility. I think this is a fundamental issue that our country needs to rectify. And you guys have been the only ones that have stood up and investigated this in a manner that it should have been investigated. Thank you for doing that. I'm so appalled that, like the first election, I had those questions. I had those questions before the election. I could not believe that people that were asking a simple question could not get an answer about the eligibility issues. Those people I followed intently. Thought that something would come out, thought that the truth would come out. But unfortunately, I found myself several years ago having to follow orders from the commander-in-chief who I could not believe. I could not answer the question about his eligibility. And then became so-called activist. I thought my officer's oath required me to validate orders. I sought those answers out with my commanders. I sought those answers out to my chain of command. I sought those answers from congressional leaders, and the answers that I got were low. I made me lose faith in our leadership in the chain of command. When I came up on orders to Afghanistan, I determined that those were coming from a commander-in-chief who was ordering me to a combat zone. I've been to combat zones before. I followed orders. This one, after the answers I got from chain of command, including the chief of staff of the army and congressional leaders, made me lose faith. And I did not want to take a part of that. I did not want to take a part of being, perhaps not even as a commander, but as a supervisor of young soldiers that were being ordered into harm's way. I did not want to take part of it. I would have, if I knew that we had a valid commander-in-chief. I would have. But I had been volunteering to deploy with my little unit to Afghanistan prior to Obama's first election. After that election, I was just doing my time and waiting to get. But I was sad that our biggest treasure, our young soldiers, were being put in harm's way for a chain of command that had been broken on the hill. When I went to congressional leaders and their senior staffers, they told me that they knew something was wrong with the election, but the media wouldn't take hold of this. I lost faith in those leaderships who are supposed to be watching our laws. I lost faith in our lawgivers and our law enforcement. And when the judiciary fails to look at this issue too, they are falling down on their job. I want a country that has laws. I want a country that follows its constitution. We are the best country this earth has known. Certainly we don't get everything right, but we have freedoms. People aspire to come to our country. We are now in a situation where our country is being fundamentally transformed. I would like to know that it's still being done constitutionally, or by somebody that is constitutionally eligible to do that. I would not have faith in either one of those. Thank you again for bringing the investigation to the public eye. Thank you for all your hard work that you've done on seeking out the truth. I pray every day with my family, my kids, that our country is not being fundamentally transformed by somebody, or someone, or some people who don't have the constitutional eligibility to do that. I want our country to be the place of opportunity for my kids. I see that quickly fading away. With your investigation, the truth coming out, I hope that our so-called elected leaders take action. I hope that our judiciary will take action. I want our country to be a fair country, a shining light for other countries. Let's go with you and the investigative team and with the media that they will finally see the light and the truth and report out to the public. I hope and pray that there will be other stand-up leadership that will take a hold of your information, look at it objectively, and I think they will find that there are problems. It's potential that we have a president, a commander-in-chief, who commands our military, has access to our nuclear devices, fundamentally transforming our country in an unconstitutional way is a horrible situation for our country and hopefully will not lead to its demise. I hope that your greetings to other leaders in the counties and the cities and the states who look at your information objectively. My opinion is that they will find that your findings are factual and that there is a problem. They need to take action. Thank you again so much for everything you've done. Joe, again, congratulations on the world we go. Keep being the sheriff as you are. Holding the law, upholding the Constitution, taking care of our citizens. Thank you, Surprise Arizona Tea Party, for having this meeting and continuing to seek out the truth. God bless.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.